Hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about, instead of something from this book, more of the author, Siddhartha Mukherjee. Well, he was born in India during the 1970s, I believe. He actually before actually taking his interest on sciences and so, he was actually being trained as an Indian singer as per his family's tradition. And sooner or later he decided branch out and decide to look into science what's something that interested him was cancer. What motivated him to cure it is both the fatal illness of his grandmother and the cancerous death of his favorite English teacher. So what he did is that he thought that in order to try to attempt to find a cure to cancer, he tried to look into the past, and thus through 5 years wrote this book, The Emperor of All Maladies, which became a great book. And what he's thinking, and today now he's with a family, and so he's now thinking of new radical ways that cancer can be cured, possibly. Well, but before I go into that, I want to digress of how people, for the most part, usually thought of how to cure diseases that people get. 1, you get disease. 2, you get the antibiotic pill. And 3, you kill the disease. That's just how the usual cycle runs, like a lock and key mechanism. But out of all that, it basically just works for only about a tiny fraction. All of our concentrated medical work that we've been working on for the longest time ever is just confined into this one small space of the vast majority of diseases and so. And what he suggests is that we shouldn't think about that in that specific direction. We should try going the completely opposite direction. Instead of killing something, create something. Which goes to 1, cells. Cancer is caused by malignant growth in cells, and if we can do something about the genetic mutations of the cells that causes cancer, then that's a good thing. But stuff on a much more broader spectrum other than just cancer, such as organs and all that stuff, that goes into the next section: organs and organisms. Organs you can just basically grow spare organs to act as replacements if you need a transplant, or you need to replace a certain organ that is failing, or something that is infected and is not working the way it's supposed to be. Or let's just say, and brushing back on the cellular category, let's just say you're old and you're trying to you're just jogging one day, but then the next day you figure out you can't move because all the bones in one of your legs is shattered, and the cartilage is just gone. What they can use is stem cells, which basically is these cells that are not in use, but once a specific amount of cells are missing and they need some, those cells turn into those cells that are needed. They're undifferentiated but then when they're needed upon, they become whatever type of cell you want them to be. They could be blood cells, bone cells, neurons, etc. But the only problem about them is that they decrease as you age. The more you get older, the less stem cells you get, and the less your body will be able to recover quickly. It's a fact of life that most of us have to live through. And Siddhartha suggests that if we can solve this problem and still be able to implement stem cells to help recover broken cartilage and fix broken bones, we can possibly address those problems and we'll be fine. And then for the last part is the environment. And this is a rather broad spectrum, like really, really broad. There's a lot of stuff that could happen, but we don't really know much about what will happen in the future. Like for example, going back to cancer, what when we originally thought was the lock and key method, the get virus, get cure, kill virus. Well, thing is that we've been doing it, in fact, quite recently. With chemotherapy and such, it's been this way it's not until more recently, around 2015 or so, that people decided that they should try to use their own immune system to fight off the cancer's infection. And that's not finding a cure to kill something. That's just creating something to cure something. And now who knows what else could happen to that. And going to another random disease, but this is more psychological than cancer, depression. Many people, especially teens, die from depression, usually through suicide or all this other stuff. And in the past, people just like, well, same thing. Take the pill, you'll be fine. You won't be depressed anymore. But that's being less effective, and this can also just lead to addiction, somewhat. But in any case, later down the line, what we also figure out that they can reconfigure about their brains. So there's physiology, and so is through talk therapies, like they can relate to other people and so. And what Siddhartha found out is that if you use both the drugs to make you less depressed and the talk therapies, they are much more effective than doing just one of them alone. And then maybe in the future there can be like some other type of therapies that can fix depression or so. And what I'm saying here is that today, as Siddhartha said, if we can just go through with just thinking instead of just the lock and key method and kill something, instead just use something to create something, to make the world better. Instead of just killing off one specific organism, you create another to make everything better and potentially change the world. And that ends my talk for today.
Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
What you say at the end, I'm trying to understand. You say the antibiotic, they kill something. They kill life.
Well, in somewhat, yeah, yes, and well, well, that's like bacteria, and well, hence the name antibiotics, because bacteria is technically life. Well, though, except for viruses. Viruses actually aren't life, but still. Yes, they
kill every bacteria. That's what antibiotics do. They kill every bad bacteria, every bad bacteria.
Oh, they target a specific bacteria.
Oh, and they kill it completely. Okay. With a stem cell, what they suggest instead, we create a cell that do what? What is, you say, well, instead of destroying, we want to create. So what do you mean? Creating what exactly? For example, in that example, creating something that kills the cell, or something that a healthy cell, or is that what you meant? Or?
Yes.
Okay. Or maybe you need to look more into it also.
Yes. Also, I may need to look into it too.
That was the first question. The second question is, did you say that the new cell can have an impact against virus too, or only against bacteria? What did you?
It could have an impact on viruses too, because viruses are a problem in like medically today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. On the third one, don't we have a solution? Because I thought you can get the stem cell and you can do culture of them. You can work on it on dish, on a I don't know you say.
In a petri dish.
You can work on it on a petri dish, and then maybe re-inject them. Is that what you mean?
Yes, they can re-engineer them cellularly, and then re-inject them to the body, and they will do their thing.
Okay. So you re-inject them in the body. And what you're trying to answer, the big question you're trying to get to, is it that how do they do that? How does this cell become the cell that that your body really need to fight you?
Yes.
That's what you're trying to understand?
Yes.
Okay, I got it. And then you talk about depression last time.
Yeah.
On the last part, where you said depression, if you take a pill, it cannot.
Yes, antidepressants. Yeah, it does work, but at the same time,
Does it really work well, or very little only?
Perhaps only a little bit. In fact, but as I said earlier, there's also a big possibility that it can become addictive.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. So, to conclude this video, you say that what you're trying to do is trying to look at how a stem cell can be used on a specific scenario. That's what you say?
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to answer. Okay. Good. Thank you.
No problem.